Hello and welcome everyone to a video by Jay Jarvis Life Coaching. So glad you're here today. Today we're shifting our program a little bit from what we've talked about in the previous videos, and we're going to go on, I would say, somewhat of a tangent, but one that makes sense in terms of the grander picture of life purpose and everything else that's associated with that. With that in mind, today's video is about steps to goal success. And I would like to start today's video by sharing a bit of personal stuff about me. And the reason I share personal stuff is because, one, I want you to get to know me, but I also want you guys to know that the information that I share comes from either my own struggles or something that happened in my life that I can relate to this. So when we're talking about goal success, I mean, everybody inevitably, I'm sure, has had the idea of this is something that I want to achieve, this is something that I want to do, and I'm just gonna say I'm gonna get this done, and then inevitably probably failed. And you know what? That's okay. So when I was younger, I've always had all of these goals. I wanted to be rich and famous. I wanted to, be the next greatest, most fantastic Dr. House when that series was on TV, or I wanted to be the next greatest fantastic forensic pathologist, etc., and so on. I've had all these ideas, and I've had all these goals and all of these things in that manner, and oftentimes I would say things like, yep, when I grow up, I'm going to be this. Or, when I am rich and famous, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm not saying that those are terrible goals. Everybody wants to be rich and famous. Everybody wants to have a fancy job. Everybody wants to have a fancy house, etc., and so on. And I was that person, I'll tell you. And then, inevitably, at some point came the realization that whatever I set out for myself didn't work. And I was anxious. I became depressed because the goal that I had set for myself didn't work out. I became frustrated. I became angry. So many emotions and so many feelings about all of these things. And then I realized that maybe, just maybe, the way that I'm setting my goals, the way that I'm looking at things and want things in life isn't the right way to go about things. And if you are struggling with goal setting, and if you are having the same kind of feelings that I mentioned, and if you're just not sure even where to begin, then let me tell you, you are at the right place. Over that time frame between when I realized that I'm depressed and anxious, not necessarily because of life, but just because of the way that I'm setting my goals, because of the way that I am trying to do things and failing, you're in the right place to learn how to do this correctly. So the way that I kind of see goal setting is that goal setting, if done correctly, and if done incorrectly is kind of a tough phrase, but if done in such a manner that is helpful and that works for you, it can help lead to your life purpose, whether or not you already kind of know what that life purpose is. So when we think of goal setting, we often don't know where to begin. We often don't know how to make that work for us. And there's a lot of ways in which that you can set goals, but very few actually work out. Very few actually work for you. And that's pretty much when I realized that there's a few ways of setting goals, or actually not really a few ways, but 4 steps for having goal success. And those steps are, number 1, deciding what you want. what is it that you really want? Do you want to be the next Justin Bieber? Do you want to be a billionaire? Do you want to be the only person in the entirety of Arizona that has 7 boats? Do you want to be a fancy therapist? Do you want to be a life coach? Figure out, decide what is it that you want. The reason I say that is because when you ask a lot of people, what their goals are or what they want out of life, oftentimes they don't have an answer for you. And oftentimes when they do have an answer, it's the goals that they say are really often what others have influenced them to want, what others have said that they should want. And the key here is that I want you to really figure out what it is that you want. I know what I want. I know what somebody else wants, but what is it that you really want? Not what other people said that you should want, not what other people said that you need to get, not anything that has to do with anybody else but you. So if I asked you to sit down and write, what you want, that's what I want. Okay? Step number 2 is believing that you can actually achieve your goal. There's a lot of people out in this world that really hold themselves back from the goals that they really want because they believe that it cannot be achieved. People cannot have what they truly desire, is what the belief system is. And often people don't reach their goals or even try because they might fear change, that it changes, or even that you might fail at it. I'm going to work to try and help you find evidence from your own life that you can believe in yourself and give you the confidence to know that you have everything that you need to be successful. Anything you want is possible. Number 3, plan for success. Have a solid, actionable plan that gets you where you need to go. Because then if you don't reach your goal, you get discouraged, and then failure, etc. And the reason I'm saying that is because, and this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier, is if you don't have a plan on how to get there, then maybe the goal wasn't thought through well enough, or an effective plan wasn't made, and that's why it didn't work out. And then lastly, number 4 is simply staying motivated. There's really no sense in having an effective plan. There's really no sense in having something that works out, that you think works out, if you're not motivated to pursue that. And motivation is often left up to chance, which is why sometimes it doesn't work out, because you're waiting until that moment that you need to feel motivated, and then all of a sudden, there's no motivation. Where did it go? So it's important to be motivated and stay motivated the entire time. So today in this video, we're going to actually talk briefly about some of the step 1, decide what you want sort of stuff. And that's really, it comes down to, or the process comes down to identifying your goals. Like, what is it that you want? And I'm going to be the first to tell you that really knowing what your goals are is sometimes more challenging than you think. You can go out there and be like, this is what I want, but then in all actuality, is it really what you want? And that's because sometimes setting the goals or knowing what the goals are is more challenging, and that's why people simply don't set goals. It's kind of like, if you really thinking about it, New Year's resolutions, right? You set them and they don't work out, or you don't even make one singular New Year's resolution, even though you're saying you're going to do it. So really, if you make explicit resolutions for New Year's or really any other time throughout the year, you are 10 times more likely to attain your goal than people who don't make explicit resolutions. And by explicit, by the way, I don't mean anything, that goes into the bedroom, but explicit in a sense of this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm going to get there. So the very fact that we're already talking about this, that you're listening to this, already means you're willing to discuss or figure out what your goals might be. One of the things that I really, really, really want to impress on you with this is get other people out of your head, okay? What I mean by that is what others want you to do, not important. Even though others might want to direct your life, might want to have an influence on your life, ultimately what your goal's going to be needs to be what you want. And the reason for that is if other people tell you what your goals are, you're not going to be motivated in the end to do it because people told you this is what you should do. To be able to actually accomplish your goals, they must be your goals, because otherwise you may not even achieve them. Might as well not even start if you're going by what other people say. So it's really important that you get other people out of your head. The next one that I want to kind of impress with you on that is writing down your goals. Everybody in the world can say this is my goal, that's my goal, whatever. But it doesn't carry any weight. Because if you just say it, it's like, yeah, whatever. Writing down your goal makes it more real, makes you a bit more focused on it, and it can send to your unconscious mind the message that says that you mean business, that you really mean to do these goals, get to these goals. And really, writing down your goal is a very fundamental part to achieving your goals. And we're going to talk about just exactly how to set these up another time. For now, I want you to take some time and really, you can even use a pen and paper, you can whatever, but I want you to write down every single thing that you can think of, big or small or medium, that you would like to change, achieve, or do in your life. Those are your goals. And what I want to do to kind of zone this in, to kind of rein this in a little bit, is I want you to focus on long-term goals that you can achieve within a year. You can make goals for 3 months from now, you can make goals for 6 months from now, but I'd like you to try and stay within 1 year's worth of time. And if there happens to be a goal that you think that it takes longer than a year, focus on the things that you can do within 1 year's worth of time and write that down. I want you to figure out, I want you to think about things that can be personal or work related or both or whatever, but I do want you to think about that. And I want you to just write down at least 50 things that you can think of. I don't want you overthinking anything. I just literally want you to write 50 things that you can think of that you want to change, achieve, or do in your life in the next year, within the next year. Take your time, write it down, pause the video, do whatever you got to do. And when you're done, you move to step 2. Now, what is step 2? Step 2, you want to look at your list that you wrote, all 50 or however many things you came up with. And I want you to kind of group those items by how similar they are, or things that can end up being combined into a larger goal overall. Again, take your time, do it, stop the video, whatever you gotta do. Step 3 is to prioritize. Now that we've grouped things, now that we've looked at simplified goals, you want to circle the ones that you feel are your highest priority. And I want you to rate each goal that you circled on a scale of 1 to 3, where 1 is the highest priority and 3 is the least priority. And from there, I want you to identify 1 or 2 major goals. So if you look at those priorities, the way that you sorted them and everything, identify 1 or 2 goals that 1 will make the biggest impact on your life, and 2 will take about a year to implement. And then I want you to write down those top goals. I don't necessarily need us to worry about, how that's written down right now. I just want you to write down what those things are. And we'll go from there. So, and the reason I want to stop there's a lot more within step 1 that we're going to cover, but the reason I want to stop there is because I feel like being able to identify the things that you want to do, simplifying them, prioritizing them, and then making 1 or 2 major goals, or 1 or 2 major things that you want to write about, or want to achieve. It kind of gets us thinking about some of these things. It might even start building some motivation to go forward. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for motivation not just to just go forward, but also to begin looking for that intrinsic motivation to actually complete whatever goals you wrote down here at the very end. I know I'm kind of stopping in the middle of everything, and it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I don't want to have a really, really long video. I think it's better to split these up into videos that are easier viewed and easier understood, rather than one big gigantic one. And then next week we're going to talk about having a big enough reason for these goals. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. But anyways, thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time today, and as always, if there's any comments, any questions, any concerns, anything at all, drop them down in the comment section and or reach out to me. My contact information is under my very first video, under the introduction video, and I really look forward to hearing from you. So thank you everyone, and have a great rest of your day.